Right, moving back to agenda item 16 then. So you've got two ideas in front of you. You want a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, have we got enough money for both?
We can submit a request for both.
Have we got, if there's
It's
enough
a
money?
question of do we have, where would they go? I mean, you've got to decide that, and also whether you, because the disabled one would probably fit in the children's play area.
Both fit for the same.
How can a disabled child get into
The disabled will be helped.
they would have to be helped too?
Only in the wheelchair, the company comes to these both DDA approved.
I can't see how you're going to get a disabled child in there. They wouldn't be able to do it themselves. And I think the whole idea of them going to the playground is to have fun themselves, so they can do it themselves. So you might
Well, they're both, you know, recommended pieces of equipment, aren't they?
yeah.
So, I mean, if you decide that as a council we like both pieces of equipment, then the clerk and the assistant clerk will put in the bid. They will compile that and do that.
Mr. Chair,
Councillor Holloway, first of all.
So this is the reason why the resolution was incorrectly recorded. We were going to get Derek Clements to do a review of the playground and come up with a proposal for what's missing and what we could spend our money wisely on. For us to randomly say that we want a couple of swings or a couple of roundabouts, we're not disqualified. Let him have a look at what current...
No, I disagree with Councillor Holloway. It's up to the council what they actually want for the play area. It's not up to
We're
council. It's not up to Derek Clements.
We're not qualified to judge. Derek Clements is a
No, but
playground consultant.
We're responsible enough to decide from the equipment that is available on the market what we'd like in that area.
I don't agree. You haven't got a clue what you're talking about when it comes to swings.
Well, I'm sorry, but I disagree with you. I disagree with what you're saying.
Okay.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
What's the difference between those two toys? I've been looking into this. You'll be amazed. There's a whole matrix of appropriateness and inappropriate features of a toy, of a swing. You've been through this. We've been through this in previous councils, so I've looked into the history. We've invited the community to comment. We've gone to the schools in the past when that lot was built. We took input from all around the communities and then went and got something completely different, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. But the choice of equipment is non-trivial. And we've got a consultant who lives up the road that's on site asking, please, we've got a budget, what do you recommend? What does this community, given the demographic of this community, given that it's a school playground, what equipment should be in there, where do we get it from?
Okay.
We aren't qualified to make that judgment.
Well, I know what other councillors think. We've all got a voice, not just Councillor Holloway.
I totally agree with it.
Okay.
I agree with what Councillor Holloway is saying.
No, I agree.
You know that there is another officer after it, so we need to get this money. What we need
Councillor
to
West,
tell them is
you-
we are going to put an application in for a piece of equipment.
Councillor West, you've had your hand up. What do you think?
Right, seesaw keeps causing us problems because it is inappropriately used. Because instead of people just sitting on the ends where it's designed to be sat on the ends, people that are not designed to go on it, grown-ups, sit on it, they try and twist it side to side. It as a difficult thing to tighten up. It's a specialist key. Okay, it's a major cause of a problem because.
Councillor West, can we talk about...
No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I am talking about. I am talking about the equipment which is in there and which is equipment to be replaced. Okay, that's what we're talking about, section 106. If the piece of equipment keeps coming defective because it's being inappropriately used, therefore should we be looking at removing that piece of equipment and replacing it with something new? Okay, that is what I'm saying. So I'm not going off on a tangent. I am talking about the section 106 money, which everybody else is being asked to approve. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If we've got the money in the pot, we know that CBC officer is going after this money, they're not going to sit around and wait for us to have meetings after meetings and meetings. They're going to get on with their job and they're going to go after that money to put in other player facilities, but they not necessarily be asked to. The CBC can transfer that money to other places, not to be spent within this community and being able to be used by the children of this community. So I believe that we can pick the pieces of play equipment, okay, we can put it in there and we can make sure that what we put in there, okay, is safe, okay, and that's why appropriate, and also making sure that not only just the able-bodied can use it, but also the children, other children who are not so able-bodied can also use it.
Councillor White.
To fill out this application, do we have to specify exactly what we're buying and the price? We do.
We've got to make a contribution towards this one.
Right. What happens if we don't actually buy what we've said we're going to buy with it? Do we get
Why
some
can't
sort
Well,
of...
that's probably make it known.
Well, I mean,
It has to be a complete application.
Yeah, it's got to be proper.
I
Can't.
don't like either of these, I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Well
That,
said.
I can't understand how a disabled child would get out of a wheelchair without it spinning round and tipping them off.
It was just two that came up.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
No,
do the come up.
Just say,
Just come up.
At the end of the day, you don't have to decide on these at all.
No. But if we've got to fill in a form, we've got to know how much it costs, so these are really the only options.
Okay.
They're both of those are of a similar price anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Can I make another suggestion then? It seems as though no one can really come up with any sensible solution as to what they would like for this children's play area. No one's done any research into it. So are we going to consult with Derek Clements
Yes.
and ask him to come up with a sensible solution? And then without bringing it back to council, we'll ask the clerks to put in a bid. Is that right?
Excellent. That's what was agreed.
Mr Chair, you're really talking, going to get hammered with financial regulations because it's over £1,000, and then you're going to get hammered around this room again about financial regulations. So we've got to pass here tonight an agreement that regardless of financial regulations can be waived on this one, that we're going to go straight forward because on these financial regulations we're supposed to have 3 quotes, and we haven't got 3 quotes lying in front of us. So,
No.
over £1,000 we're
Okay.
supposed to have 3
Let the
quotes.
clerk respond to you then.
You're looking for a project to
Yeah.
get the 106 money.
Yeah.
You can have as many quotes as you like.
Or not right?
Councillor Arlesey.
Can I make another, Councillor Frost?
On the side, down the side, there are some other equipment there. There's a it says a metro roundabout, metro roundabout 2 metre. That looks slightly better than the one because you're going to get other children on there as well as the wheelchair. Which may be a better idea than that, where you can only get one on.
Bet Derek Clements knows. He's a consultant, he knows.
Okay. Any more comments on this? Councillor Clapham?
How quickly can we get Derek Clements to come and decide? What? Oh, so when is he back?
Is he a one-man band? No. So therefore, his office staff should be able to arrange somebody to come out and do it.
I don't know what sort of operation he's got actually. So what is the resolution from this then?
You just said it.
The resolution is that as a council, we're not going to make any decisions ourselves. We're going to leave it to a consultant to decide on what goes in the area, in the children's play area, yes?
So
That relates to children with disabilities.
That's what the Environment Centre
Yeah.
suggested.
It was in the minutes. Should have been in the
So
minutes.
that's fine, yeah? We're all in agreement with that? Right, okay. Right, moving on to the village agents. Consider a budget for the village agent position for 15-16. Alison? What have you got on that?
I think it was brought up at GP, about the occasion as to whether council wanted to
Can you just let us know the latest situation with the village agent? So Barbara Brown has gone, hasn't she?
We've got a copy of the leaflet which is handed over to working through the same hours as Barbara.
Okay.
Wendy Morgan.
So I suppose the first thing to decide then is it a service that we want to maintain?
Mr Chair, we've had problems recently where people on that subcommittee have applied for meetings, both the VRCC and the village agent, and they haven't happened.
Well, we did have a meeting, it was the village agent who couldn't make the
We got
meeting,
meeting,
but she's gone now, so this one may be more available, so. But councillor Bridwater was saying that there might be, we could get some help.
Well, she suggested somebody that we could
Yeah.
consult with over it, didn't she?
So that they would, I would,
Councillor Contract.
Didn't we spend the money that we put aside? Something's ringing in my head. That money was identified for something else, because it was £5,000 a year, wasn't it, for the village agent? Didn't we use that money for something else because we knew that we'd lost the village agent? Something's ringing. I can't remember all the details.
Did we put it forward for the,
Was it for?
help in the office?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was used for. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you, Councillor Frost. So where are we going to get two lots of money from then?
Councillor Clapham, sorry.
could we consult John Boswell of CDC, who,
He's the one that wants the money.
he wants money or he might be able to, oh, but who then can see if we can get some funding?
It's why they came to council, because they've run out of funding. There's no funding available.
I think you need to make another. Do you actually want a village agent or don't you?
Yes. Because the service they provide for the elderly and the disabled is quite a unique service. And it helps them put in contact with different people who they wouldn't otherwise be able to get in contact with and offer support to them. So we should do.
David just answered my question, what did they do, what did they do last year?
I believe Barbara Contact had access to 30 plus residents, okay, who she was able to put in contact to get extra help and extra benefit wherever necessary and extra support as well.
So is that 30 instances of help?
Yes.
Right.
I think one of the problems was that Barbara didn't actually promote herself that well. She didn't come to the meetings and talk about anything that she'd been doing that I'm aware of, unless I've missed.
She did have some.
So if I may ask a supplementary, who is it that, if we put in £5,000, how is that service accountable to us? Who manages, is it Elsie that manages?
The RCC.
And
They employ the village agent on how we are.
We have very little control, Councillor Holloway, over what the village agent did or didn't do. We tried to set up meetings, but they didn't. The only other meeting that we did manage to meet with Rosie Kind was around a voluntary scheme of neighbourhood help. Yeah.
And she said that she'd only had 5 applications.
Yes, that's right.
I think from Arlesey. For
In order for it to be to work to maximum effect, you need to have a really engaging councillor that partakes in meetings with BRCC and the whole role itself. If you just sit back and do nothing, you'll get very little out of it.
No, that's right. That's right.
could we ask
I think is this John Boswell, the name that Rita gave us earlier on? Is he the one that is responsible for the village agent? I think it's worth talking to him because there was a question about funding available, so I think it would be quite good for a councillor to meet up with him and find out exactly what he can provide, how he can help us as a council, and how we can help him with the village agent role.
I don't think it's
No, no, no.
finance, because they came, the RCC came to us.
No, it's not about the finance, it's about the support you can give the community, isn't it? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I'm sure, I thought Rita said about funding.
yeah, but he wants the money, he's not going to give the
Oh,
money.
he got, oh, right, I misheard that. You have to excuse my hearing.
Councillor White.
This is village agent. I mean, I hadn't had any dealings with them. I don't know anyone who has. Would we be better off putting this money to one side or allocating it to the resource centre and having them run projects out of there, having the police in to help with home security, somebody else to come in and have advice for whoever wants to come in, whether it's financial or pensions, pretty much as similar as what they're offering. You know, and have sort of like a one-stop shop there. You know,
Councillor Compton?
because this seems very one-to-one.
With the support from BRC is that they do all the training. There's quite a lot of training around, you know, managing the staff and giving them the training to be aware of what the benefit system is like. I mean, that's very complex. And so they do actually do the training of that particular member of staff. And as you all know, training is hugely expensive.
Yes,
And the village agent would need to know about housing benefit, the benefit system, you know, all manner of different things that, as I say, I think the first stage is to talk to this
Okay,
guy.
so would you
actually,
like
and
us
find
to
out
invite
what-
this guy to the next meeting?
Yeah, that sounds like a good.
Yeah,
Shall we have that as the next step?
Yeah.
Okay?
Mr. Chair.
Consider is if council is going to go this year for financing village agent, we've got to think about putting it in the GP agenda next later in the month.
Mr. Chair, a lot of people to go to see, some of them are what called housebound, and therefore they don't come out with very much, so therefore they need extra help and support. And they don't necessarily live within what you call sheltered accommodation, they actually live within the general community. And some of them want to go somewhere where they think they can get overheard because they need their finances or whatever help they need to become private, and therefore they like to discuss them in their own home.
Okay.
So it's a service, yes it is one-to-one, okay, on a basis, but yes it is also a service that has been used by a number of people in the community who have actually been able to get extra help and support and encourage them to be able to have independent living because of that extra help and support they've been able to have.
but aren't there other care agencies that do that kind of work, Councillor West?
If
I
you
would
pay for
think
them.
that would be just down to a village agent to do that
No,
kind of work.
she puts you in contact with, but if you want somebody to come and find out stuff like that, you've got to go through social services report, there's a backlog of social services, and then, not being funny to you, that sometimes it takes 12 months, if you need an AIDS and adaptation take place, okay, to get the OT to come out, you're talking of about 6 months because of the backlog, where she knows who to go and see to get the OT to come out, and if you're in certain accommodation, their landlords actually have a pot of money which actually they can shortcut the system. So,
But I still think we need to be realistic. We're funding £5,000 for 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week does not cover
Okay, alright, look,
vulnerable.
can I just say, have we made a decision then that we would like to invite this person to the next meeting? Is this what we're saying
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Any decisions made, and we'll judge the precept with in or out. Right, Councillor Holloway, I think you might be able to say a little bit about this stakeholder meeting that took place on the 23rd of September.
I've already reported, Mr. Chair,
Oh,
the
have you?
report to receive from the chair of that meeting.
What it is, I was going to suggest that I can let her know who will be attending the meeting in January.